Hello everyone, so here we are in the middle of the year. Like, we're already halfway through the year. If you can't wrap your head around that, don't worry, neither can I. Like, I can't believe 6 months have already passed. It's time to reflect, you know. In the halfway part of the year, you kind of reflect back on your goals. Am I doing well or am I not doing well? What can I improve on? What can I not improve on? What have I already accomplished? What have I not accomplished? All those many things. And with the middle of the year comes the mid-year book freakout tag. This is my 3rd year in a row doing this tag. I love doing it because I'm a person that is an organizer, and I also like looking back on like my past goals and, you know, whether or not I'm achieving those goals. If you want to see my 2 previous mid-year book freakout tag, that's a lot to take in, I'll link them down below for you to see. I will also leave the original tag video and the questions as well. If you're unfamiliar with this tag, this is literally a catch-up. Like, it asks you a lot about what you've read this year, about your progress, and things of that nature. So without further ado, let's get into the mid-year book freakout tag and see how I've done. I'm curious myself. First question is the hardest one right off the bat. It just hits you right in there. And it's the best book you've read so far this year. And looking back on my Goodreads, this has been a decent reading year for me. I won't say not as good as last year, if I'm honest with you, but there's still a lot of books I'm anticipating for the later half of the year. So either way, I've read a good majority of really good books this year. I'm going to share with you a couple of my favorites because that's going to be the theme of this tag, if you can't already tell, is I can't pick one book for the answer. Not me. Not me. My favorite, honestly, book that I've read this year is Lord of Shadows by Cassandra Clare. I'm going to sound like a broken record because a lot of people are probably going to be saying this, but it was really good. Like, it was amazing. I'm not going to lie to you. Like, it was amazing. And yeah, I will say this is my favorite book of the year so far. Who knows whether that'll be the case in December or not. We'll have to see. Another one of my favorite books that I've read this year is Illuminate by Jay Kristoff and Amy Kaufman. I was late to the bandwagon on reading this series, but I'm so glad I've read it. This was so amazing. Like, I feel like it is all worth the hype. A lot of people say, is it not? Is it? I think it is. It's a quick read and it's really fun, and it's one of my favorite sci-fi books I've ever read, honestly, and one of my favorite books I've read this year. The next question is best sequel that you've read in 2017. And I could go with Lord of Shadows. It was a solid sequel, but I'm not going to do that because I want to try to do new answers. The one I'm picking for this is actually a surprise for me, and that is Our Dark Duet by Victoria Schwab. And I say that because I read this Savage Song last year and I enjoyed it. I didn't love it. So when I decided to read this one, I was like, oh, I'll probably like this. No, I freaking love this book. I much prefer the second book over the first one. I feel like with the second book, we already knew the world and what was the monsters and things like that. Quickly able to like be invested in this book because I already knew like the basis of everything. And this book was an amazing sequel. Like, I really enjoyed it. It might be one of my favorite books of the year, honestly, too, because I just really loved it. And I'm surprised because I liked the Savage Song, but I didn't love it by any means. I think I gave it like a 4 out of 5. This one, like 5 out of 5. Like, I really loved it. Next question is new release that you haven't read but need to. And this one is hard because I'm actually been pretty good about new releases. No, I take that back. In Witch by Susan Dennard. This book came out in January. Here it is a half a year later. Still haven't read it. I need to read it. So I don't know if you call this a new release. It's released within the last 6 months, so I guess, I don't know. This is one I've been meaning to read for a while, and that came out this year, and I still have not gotten around to it. And the next question is most anticipated release for the second half of the year. So I could not pick one for this one. Like, if I'm honest, I had to really narrow this down because, like I said, I've had a good reading year so far. Like, I've read a lot of books that I've given 5 stars that I really enjoy, but there's some that I have just been anticipating so much. Like, this second half of the year is explosive with books that I am excited to read. And those are going to be One Dark Throne by Kadara Blake, the sequel to 3 Dark Crowns by her, and I cannot wait to read that book. Like, I have to see how it pans out. I'm so excited for it. Also, Tower of Dawn by Sarah J. Maas. This is like Kale's book, and a lot of people hate the cover. It's not a great cover. Let's be real here. But I'm excited to read it because I love Kale. A lot of people don't like Kale. I feel like Kale was really butchered in like the previous books. Like Sarah J. Maas destroyed his character. So I am really hoping for a redemption arc for Kale, and I really feel like this will be the book for his redemption, and I can't wait to for everyone to be like, oh Kale, we love you so much, because I'm like, yes, I love Kale. I'm excited for Kale. I love Kale. Also, Warcross by Marie Lu. This is her newest series and it sounds so amazing. Several of my BookTube friends have read it and loved it, and I can't wait to read it as well. There's a lot of books coming out the second half of the year that I cannot wait to get my hands on. The next question, sadly, is biggest disappointment. I haven't read too many books this year that I was really excited for and that really disappointed me. There have been a few contemporaries where I was just like, this is not that great, but I didn't really expect them to be that amazing. There are only 2 books I'm going to show you that I really was expecting more from. I won't say they're 100% disappointment, but I wanted more out of them. And the first one of that being A Gathering of Shadows by V.E. Schwab. This is the second book in the trilogy. I have read the complete trilogy this year, and actually A Darker Shade of Magic is one of my favorite books this year, honestly. But I really didn't like the second book, honestly. I felt like this one was the flattest one of the whole trilogy. I felt like it was a long book and nothing happened. It kept going up and down, and it would stay down for a while, and then we would finally go back up the roller coaster and be there for a second, and then we go back down again and be there forever. I really wanted more from this book, but I feel like the third book delivered and really redeemed this series in my opinion. I do really love this trilogy, do not get me wrong, but I just wasn't a huge fan of the second book. Also on that note is Caraval by Stephanie Garber. I gave this book a 4 out of 5 stars, so I really enjoyed it, but thinking back on it, I might be like a 3.75. I wanted more from this book. I thought this was going to be like a dark, creepy carnival, and it was that, but it was a very, I don't know, it was interesting. Like, I didn't like the main character, number one. She was very indecisive. She let people make decisions for her. She was like, oh, should I do this? And they're like, this is what you're gonna do. And she was like, oh, okay. I was like, no. I did enjoy the writing style, but I just wanted more from it. I wanted more of a carnival vibe, like the creepy circus vibe, and I don't feel like it delivered on it. But by no means did this really disappoint me. In retrospect, I did like both of these books. I just wanted more from them, honestly. The next question is biggest surprise. Again, I have 2 books to show you because I can never make up my mind. The first one of that being Geekerella by Ashley Poston. I went into this book thinking it'll be a cute contemporary and came out really surprised on how much I liked it. This is one of my favorite contemporary books I've ever read. It is just so adorable. It's like a Cinderella retelling in modern day, and it's so cute, honestly. If you just want a cute book, pick up this book. It surprised me of the fact that I thought I was just gonna be like, it's a cute contemporary, but I really ended up enjoying it. I really like this book. And the other book that I was really surprised by is Size by Neil Shusterman. Again, I went into this book expecting to like it, but came out really enjoying it. I felt this was a very interesting read, and a very fast one at that. I really would recommend this to everybody. It's such a compelling and interesting read, and it'll really make you think. I really was expecting to just enjoy this book, not enjoy it as much as I did. So I'm very happy I read both of those books because I really enjoyed them both. Favorite new author. This can either be a debut author or a new to you author. And I'm going to choose both of those options because I am indecisive, if you can't already tell. For my debut author, it's going to have to go to Sally Thorne, who wrote The Hating Game, which is an adult chick lit novel, and I ate this book up like candy. Oh my gosh. Another book that I was expecting not to really love, but came out obsessive over, honestly. This is a perfect adult chick lit / kind of steamy book, and I loved her writing, so I cannot wait to see what Sally Thorne's going to write in the future because she was just on point with this book. I loved it. And the new to me author is Becky Albertalli. I read The Upside of Unrequited this year, and am planning to read Steinman also this year as well, but I really enjoyed The Upside of Unrequited. I found it to be amazing, and I'm really happy that I eventually have read Becky Albertalli's writing because she is an amazing author that writes such diverse, really beautiful, cute books, honestly. And the next question is newest fictional crush, and this is hard for me because it's harder, I think, for me to get a new book boyfriend or new fictional crush, honestly. I guess I can give it to Kel from A Darker Shade of Magic series. I really enjoyed Kel, and he's definitely a fictional crush now for sure. And yeah, I wouldn't say he's really up there, but I really enjoyed Kel. I really find him as a fictional crush. I don't don't know. I guess this is my answer. This is horrible because I'm usually like really like, this is my new love. This is my new love. This year's, I'm reading 2 loves. I've read previous loves of like sequels and things, but no new loves quite yet. Then we have our newest favorite character, and with that one, I'm gonna have to go with Kit from The Lord of Shadows. I wasn't expecting to like Kit as much as I did, but I fell in love with Kit. I think he's an amazing addition to this series, and I really enjoyed watching him grow throughout this book. He was just awesome. And also Mariko from the Flame in the Mist series by Renee Adahia. I probably pronounced that wrong. I'm so bad at pronouncing her name. Like I look it up and everything, and it just goes out the window. Either way, I really enjoyed her as a character. I thought she was an awesome kick-butt character that really uses her mind more than like her strength, which I really found admirable. Then we have a book that made you cry, which usually is hard for me because not a lot of books made me cry. There's one book this year that really made me cry a ton, and that is The Names They Gave Us by Emery Lord. I cried a lot during this book. This book really hit home towards me, and it just was so beautifully written. Like, this book made me shed a lot of tears, and it's a beautiful book at that. Then we have a book that made you happy, and again, I have a couple for this one because indecisive is me. First one of that, When Dimple Met Rishi. The book was so adorable and just so cute. It definitely made me all of the happy feelings, like all of them. And also Alex Approximately by Jen Bennett. This also gave me all the warm and fuzzies. It just made me overall very, very happy. Then we have your favorite book to film adaptation that you've seen this year. I'm gonna change this because I did see Everything this year, but it wasn't my favorite one, I would say. I'm gonna actually pick 2 TV ones, and of course I'm gonna say 13 Reasons Why by Jay Asher. I felt like the Netflix adaptation was amazing, like, oh, so good. Also Big Little Lies by Liam Moriarty that came on HBO. Again, amazing. I think both of these shows are gonna have a season 2, which I'm conflicted on, honestly. I don't know what's gonna happen with those. Both a success, but either way, I enjoyed both of them, and I thought they were both amazing TV adaptations. I'm really hopping on to the TV adaptation train a lot more than I think movies, honestly. I don't know. Let me know if you feel the same way. And the next question is favorite review you've written this year, or for booktubers, favorite review you filmed or just video you filmed overall this year. And I'm gonna say for this year, definitely hands down my bookshelf tour. That just took a lot of, that was a labor of love. I'm sure every bookshelf tour you ever see was a labor of love because the amount of filming that goes into it and the amount of editing and just the prep work, everything about it. It's just a lot of hard work, but it was so worth it because I just love bookshelf tours. And this is gonna be kind of cheating because the other video I want to mention actually came out in the later half of 2016, but I wanted to mention it because I'm proud of it and I don't think a lot of people have seen it, and that is how to get ready for the new Gilmore Girls revival. So I'm sure you remember in November when the Gilmore Girls revival came out, A Year in the Life of Gilmore Girls, I made a video all about how like to prep for those new episodes where it's kind of like a little sketch comedy type of thing. And
last one was right from Rory. Team Jess, Team Logan, Team Jess, Team Logan, I don't know. Lane, Kirk, Town Troubadour, Jackson, Miss Patty.
And I'm very proud of it, honestly. Like, I've worked really hard on it. Like, I storyboarded it. I set it up for filming. I had my husband help me. Like, I made props for that thing. Like, I spent so much time on that video. And I'm very proud of it. And I don't think a ton of people have seen it, which makes me sad because I was like, I love that video so much because, you know me, I love Gilmore Girls. So I recommend you watch it. Just to, even if you don't like Gilmore Girls, just check it out. Let me know what you think of it overall. You know, because I just loved it so much. Like, I love filming and planning every aspect of that video. So those are the 2 that I'm most proud of. I'd say mostly the Gilmore Girls one. Like, that was that's a different take for my channel because I usually do reviews or tags or other things like that. That one's very, very different from what I usually do, and I am really proud of it. Then we have the most beautiful book you've bought this year, or you can either be received, and of course, I'm gonna have to go with Strange the Dreamer by Laini Taylor. This book is probably, I don't know, I think it might be the most gorgeous book on my whole shelf. I love this cover. This is the UK cover. It's just, it's so beautiful. I can't say it enough. Every time I talk about this book, I haven't even read it yet. I know, but the cover, it's so freaking beautiful. And the last question is what book or books that you need to read by the end of the year. And I've Got a lot of those. Got a lot of those. Number 1, Change the Dreamer. Keep talking about how beautiful the cover is. I need to see if I enjoy the book as much as I enjoy the actual cover. Of course, Wind Witch by Susan Dennard. I really need to read this book. That's another one. And the last one is A List of Cages by Robin Rowe. This came out in the beginning of the year, I want to say. You have to read it. Need to read it. I haven't read it because I know it's going to break me, but I need to read it either way. That was the mid-year book freakout tag. I hope you guys enjoyed watching and enjoyed seeing my progress and what books I've read this year. It's like a little glimpse into what to expect maybe in my top 10 video at the end of the year. But either way, I really love doing these. I really love doing this video, and I plan to make it a yearly thing because it's always good to check in and, you know, see what progress you've made. So if you're interested in doing this tag, please do. I would love to hear your answers. And you can even leave them in the comments. Let me know what, like, your favorite book you've read this year, also your biggest disappointment. Like, what book that you read that you were expecting to love that you were just like really disappointed in, and also your biggest surprise. I would love to know. And also, like, just answer all the questions in the comments. Why not? Because I would love to read your answers honestly and hear your feedback on what you've read this year. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and hit subscribe, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.